I have a suggestion and I have a question. The
Okay,
suggestion
please.
is there's not a lot of media coverage on these huge protests that are going all around the world all the time. And so if you're GM evidence, it'd be so awesome to be able to go to a site that you could just see all the protests that are happening around the world, just like little flashing lights.
That's a brilliant idea. I think we can add that straight away.
I mean, it's Mexico where there's thousands and thousands. I still can't get over that on the hunger strikes and marching the streets. And then you have in Kauai, and none of that was in the media. And the question that I have for you is, in Canada right now, there is 40 different towns. They had protests against GE alfalfa. And the question that one of the farmers asked was, the people don't want it, the farmers don't want it, so why is this in legislation and why is it being commercialized? So my question to you is, if farmers aren't wanting this and consumers aren't wanting this, what's going on here?
Well, I think this goes back a long way. It goes back into the 1990s when Monsanto lobbied all of the farmers unions in Europe, so mainly the British and French farmers unions, and most of the farmers unions in America at the same time. And since then, they've had constant support from every single farmers union almost all around the world, including in China even, where you'd imagine that they wouldn't get so much support. So all the actual mainstream media, mainstream farmers unions have always been on their side. So I mean, it's very difficult to fight that. And even with GMO labeling now, I think the main problem is in getting any GMO labeling, and especially in America, is that in every state, Monsanto will say, and all of the people who would say no to GMO labeling, hey, it's going to cost more money. And that immediately gets into people's minds. So it's such a difficult fight to fight. When they constantly argue saying food will cost more, that's the thing that, especially in America, that's the thing that every single state has to argue against, that it's not going to cost more.
It's not going to cost more.
What people have to remember is that it may cost more right now in their pocketbook when they're buying stuff from the grocery store, but it is going to cost way more if they eat food and they wind up at the doctor's office. Way more. I mean, there's no comparison. It's amazing how you can stay out of the doctor's office if you stay off the genetically modified food.
Really, what I'd love to know is how, especially people in Europe and funders from Europe, funders from Australia, people can actually get involved with the kind of grassroots movements like Zen's movement, for example, in America. It's actually very difficult. There's been no linkage. There's been no linkage across the Atlantic. There's been no linkage around the world until the last couple of months, really. Everyone's fighting their separate battles, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you're bringing us all together with your website. I really see that happening, and you're connecting us all. And there are moms and there are people all around the world. We all eat, and we all want to have. You're absolutely right. We do need to connect with how did Europe do it? How did Peru do it? How did these companies that banned it and had it labeled? And we need to see pictures from these other companies how the prices did not go up for them. I know there's a few out there, but we need to make that more more widely publicized. And for any of the companies, any of the organizations out there that want to support this, we get that this is a global fight that's primarily being fought on America's turf, because 90% of our GMOs, of our corn and soy is GMO. And we've got 37 states right now that are battling this. And other states that want to, they just don't have the funds. So if other companies and organizations around the world and citizens could just reach out and donate whatever they can to the organizations that are, Food Democracy Now!, Moms Across America, Organic Consumer Association, in America, your investment is a global investment in this global fight.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good message. Actually, that's one we got to get out very quickly.
Yeah.
Because you've got I think Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth have done a lot of work in Europe, but they have done very little in America on GMOs. I have no idea why that is. It's just how it's happened for some reason.
Well, I think it's growing here pretty fast, the movement, and I think it's unstoppable. It really is unstoppable.
I hope so. Yeah. It would be wonderful.
Greenpeace wants a million people that are ready to be active about this in America before they get more active, is what I heard. But I know they are supportive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rachel would like to say something about this.
Yeah. I would suggest that if friends in the world, God, I hate to say this because my husband is Australian, and he is probably a microcosm of what the rest of the world thinks, that America thinks it's the only country in the world and we're the best country in all of this business. So I take what I say with a grain of salt, but I think at least within this GMO-free argument, this is true. What happens here will reflect globally. If your friends across the sea from us would like to donate money in a meaningful way, in order for us to put legislation through, which, by the way, if they're not understanding of this, in America, democracy costs a lot of money. It costs a shitload of money just to print the paper off. Not even the regulatory process to submit an initiative in my state, okay? Tens of thousands of dollars. And we make it $10 and $5 and $15 at a time. And I will tell you, in great argument with my wonderful and amazing coworkers in other states and with the national organizations, the wisdom in our GMO-free community, and this is in conflict with my own wisdom, is that they should spend the money one state at a time and back one state and run with that one state. And I think that is a ridiculous shortcoming within our own movement. And what we don't have here is a fund by which we can apply as we would like to get labeling and start an initiative process, especially in my state. There is no fund I can go to that will give me the seed money, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 just to start the process. And there's nothing lined up for me. If I want this process, I have to pound the streets and get the money myself while educating the public, while building the organization, while going through the corporation process, while going through the 501c3 process, while training all of my volunteers, while reinventing the wheel at the speed of light, while driving as fast as I can down the freeway of life.
While taking care of your kids.
Exactly.
While you're taking care of your kids.
My day job that pays for my other day job, you know. So if you can send it all a message to the international funders of this movement, please put a fund together. Man it yourself. Don't give it to any other U.S. organization to dole out. Please, within your own wisdom, look at all of the struggling states. I'm the founder of GMO Free Arizona. We are desperate for funds. I am one of 20 other states that are desperate for funds to keep this process going within our states. And there is no money set aside for us. There is no fund for us. We are direly in need of that. Every state financially is independent in how much it costs in order to start the processes, but you would be surprised how much the price of freedom is in America. And we are struggling desperately to do this.